A forced marriage contract, a powerful businessman waiting for her signature, a trembling pen in a young woman's hand. Lena Hart was one signature away from losing everything, until a man more dangerous than anyone stepped through the door. This is the story of a woman who nearly signed away her soul to hell, but rose up and buried an entire criminal empire instead. Watch until the end to see how she took it all back. Hit like and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled. The office smelled like expensive leather and old coffee. Lena Hart sat in a chair that cost more than her rent, staring at a piece of paper that might as well have been a death sentence. Her hand shook as she gripped the pen. The ink hadn't touched the signature line yet, but it felt inevitable, like gravity pulling her down. Across the desk, Victor Hale sat perfectly still. He didn't look like a monster. That was the problem. He looked like success. Tailored suit, clean-shaven jaw, eyes that didn't blink often enough. He wasn't rushing her. Didn't need to. They both knew she had no choice. "Take your time," Victor said softly. His voice was smooth, practiced, the kind of voice that closed million-dollar deals without breaking a sweat. "I know this is a big decision." Lena wanted to laugh. Decision. Like she was choosing between job offers or apartments. Like the last 3 years hadn't been a slow-motion car crash designed to land her right here, right now, with a pen in her hand and nowhere left to run. She glanced at the contract again. The words blurred together. Marriage, binding, irrevocable, legal guardianship of Noah Hart, age 14, contingent upon Noah, her little brother, the only reason she was still breathing. "Where is he?" Lena's voice came out rougher than she intended. "You said I could see him first." Victor's smile didn't reach his eyes. "He's safe? Comfortable? You'll see him as soon as we finalize the paperwork." Finalize. Like this was a business transaction. Maybe to him it was. Lena's mind raced backward, trying to pinpoint the moment everything went wrong. Was it when she lost her job at the music store? When the landlord suddenly doubled the rent? When her car broke down the same week Noah's school threatened to expel him for unpaid tuition? Or further back, when their mother died and left them with nothing but medical debt and a shoebox full of old recordings? No. It went back further than that. It went back to the first time Victor Hale showed up at her door 6 months ago, wearing concern like a costume. "Miss Hart, I'm so sorry to hear about your situation. I knew your mother, actually. Brilliant musician. I'd like to help." She'd been so desperate she actually believed him. The pen felt heavier now. Lena set it down, pressing her palms flat against the desk. Her fingers left faint moisture marks on the dark wood. "I need more time." Victor's expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air. The temperature dropped half a degree. "Time," he repeated. "Lena, we've been very patient, very generous. The arrangement I'm offering, marriage, security, a future for your brother. Most people would be grateful." Grateful. The word tasted bitter. For being forced into marrying a stranger? Forced is such an ugly word. Victor leaned forward slightly. "You're making a choice. A smart choice. Noah needs stability. You can't provide that. I can. And all I'm asking for in return is a simple partnership. A few years of your time. You'll want for nothing. Except freedom." Victor's smile thinned. "Freedom is overrated when you're starving." Lena's stomach twisted. He wasn't wrong. The last 3 years had taught her that. Freedom to choose between which bills to pay. Freedom to skip meals so Noah could eat. Freedom to lie awake at night wondering if Child Protective Services would show up tomorrow. She'd fought so hard. Worked 3 jobs at one point, waitressing, cleaning offices at night, tutoring music students on weekends. But every time she got close to stable ground, something else collapsed. The restaurant closed suddenly. The cleaning company let her go without explanation. Her students' parents found other teachers. Bad luck, she'd thought. Just terrible, relentless bad luck. "I know what you did," Lena said quietly. Victor raised an eyebrow. "I'm not sure what you mean." "The jobs, the rent increase, the school, all of it. You made it happen." For a moment, Victor said nothing. Then he laughed, a short, genuine sound that was somehow worse than his fake smiles. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for." He straightened his tie. "But if you already know, then you understand how this works. I wanted you here, in this office, with that pen in your hand. And here you are, because I'm very good at getting what I want. And what do you want? Really? Lena's voice shook with anger now, not fear. Why me? Why go through all this trouble for someone you could just ignore? Victor's eyes went cold. You have something that belongs to me, something your mother stole a long time ago, and I'm taking it back. The easy way or the hard way? Your choice. Lena's heart hammered. I don't have anything. We lost everything when she died. Hospital bills, funeral costs. Not everything, Victor interrupted. You're sitting on a legacy you don't even understand. But you will. After we're married and I have legal access to your affairs, you'll understand exactly what your mother took from me. The pieces weren't connecting. Lena thought of her mother, Sarah Hart, a session musician who played piano and violin for local recordings, who died of cancer 3 years ago with $47 in her checking account. What could she possibly have had that a man like Victor Hale wanted? Before Lena could respond, the office door opened. Neither of them had knocked. That was the first thing Lena noticed. The door just opened, smooth and silent, and a man stepped inside like he owned the building. Maybe he did. Victor's expression changed instantly. The smug control vanished, replaced by something Lena had never seen on his face before. Fear. The man in the doorway was younger than Victor, mid-30s maybe. Dark hair, dark suit, dark eyes that scanned the room with the efficiency of someone trained to spot threats. He didn't look at Lena, not yet. His entire focus was on Victor. Mr. Hale, the man said. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. That made it worse somehow. I don't believe you're supposed to be conducting business here. This building was sold last week. You're trespassing. Victor stood slowly. Adrian, I wasn't aware you were in the city. Clearly. Adrian Cross, Lena assumed that was his name, finally looked at her. His gaze was assessing, but not unkind. Miss Hart, are you here of your own free will? Lena opened her mouth, closed it. The question was so direct, so completely unexpected that her brain stuttered. She's here voluntarily, Victor cut in. We're finalizing a private agreement, family business. She's not your family yet. Adrian stepped further into the room. He moved like water, smooth, unstoppable. And from where I'm standing, she looks like someone who'd rather be anywhere else. Victor's jaw tightened. This doesn't concern you. It does now. Adrian turned back to Lena. You don't have to sign anything. You can walk out of here right now. No consequences. Lena's pulse spiked. My brother is currently at Riverside Academy, 3rd period, geometry class, Adrian said calmly. I have people there. He's safe. He'll stay safe. You have my word. Victor slammed his hand on the desk. You have no authority here, Cross. No right to interfere in my affairs. Your affairs? Adrian's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the room dropped another 10 degrees. You've been running a coercion operation against a civilian. You've manipulated her employment, her housing, her brother's education. You're about to force her into a fraudulent marriage for financial gain. Which of those would you like me to report first? Lena's head spun. Coercion operation. Fraudulent marriage. Financial gain. The words sounded like something from a legal thriller, not her life. Victor's face had gone red. You're making accusations you can't prove. I don't need to prove them to you. Adrian pulled out his phone, tapped the screen twice, and held it up. I already sent the documentation to 3 separate law firms and a federal prosecutor. You're done, Hale. Whether it's today or next month, you're finished. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Then Victor looked at Lena with such raw hatred that she flinched. You stupid girl, he said softly. You have no idea what you're walking away from. No idea what I was protecting you from. Protecting? Lena's voice cracked. You were blackmailing me. I was giving you a future, a clean, simple future. Now? Victor shook his head. Now you're going to drown in truths you're not ready for. And when you do, don't come crying to me. Adrian stepped between them. Walk away, Hale, while you still can. Victor grabbed his briefcase, movement sharp and angry. At the door he paused. This isn't over. Yes, Adrian said quietly. It is. The door closed. Silence filled the room like water filling a sinking ship. Lena couldn't breathe. Her hands were still shaking, worse now than before. The contract sat on the desk, unsigned, useless. She stared at it like it might come to life and strangle her. Are you all right? Adrian's voice was closer now. He'd moved to the side of the desk, not crowding her, but present. No. Lena's laugh came out broken. No, I'm not all right. I don't understand what just happened. Who are you? Why did you help me? My name is Adrian Cross. I run a private security firm. He pulled out a chair and sat, putting them at eye level. As for why, I've been investigating Victor Hale for the last 8 months. Fraud, racketeering, human trafficking. You're not the first woman he's tried to trap, but you might be the first one who gets away. Human trafficking. The words hit Lena like a physical blow. She thought of the marriage contract, the control it would have given him, the legal access to everything she owned, everything she was. He said my mother stole something from him, Lena whispered. He said I have a legacy I don't understand. What was he talking about? Adrian was quiet for a moment. Then he said, When's the last time you looked at your mother's estate papers? There was no estate, just debt. That's what you were told. Adrian pulled out a slim folder from inside his jacket. But it's not the whole truth. Your mother, Sarah Hart, was more than a session musician. She was a composer. And 3 months before she died, she registered a collection of original works with the Copyright Office. Film scores, advertising jingles, streaming content. Her music has been licensed commercially for the last 3 years. Lena stared at him. That's impossible. We would have known. We would have gotten payments. You should have. Adrian slid the folder across the desk. But someone's been intercepting them, redirecting royalties into offshore accounts, falsifying ownership documents. And that someone is Victor Hale. Lena opened the folder with numb fingers. Inside were bank statements, legal documents, licensing agreements, all with her mother's name, all showing payments totaling. Her vision blurred. $12 million. $12 million. That's not possible, Lena said again, but her voice had no strength. She died broke. We couldn't afford. We had nothing. You had everything, Adrian said gently. You just didn't know it. Victor made sure of that. He needed you desperate, broken, willing to sign anything. Because once you married him, he'd have legal access to everything. He could legitimize the theft, make it all disappear into his own accounts. Lena's hands went cold. The folder slipped from her grip, papers scattering across the desk. 3 years. 3 years of struggling, starving, fighting to keep Noah safe. 3 years of sleeping in her car, skipping meals, working herself sick, all while her mother's legacy sat in an account she didn't even know existed. He stole my life, Lena whispered. Yes, Adrian said. He did. Rage bloomed in Lena's chest, hot and bright and utterly consuming. Not the helpless anger of the last 3 years, the kind that burned out because there was nowhere to direct it. This was different. This had a target. She looked up at Adrian. Can we destroy him? Something flickered in Adrian's dark eyes. Approval, maybe, or recognition? That depends, he said. How much are you willing to risk? Lena thought of Noah, sitting in geometry class, safe for now, but always one wrong move away from being taken. She thought of her mother, dying in a hospital bed, whispering apologies Lena never understood. She thought of every missed meal, every sleepless night, every moment she'd felt like she was drowning. Everything, Lena said. I'll risk everything. Adrian nodded slowly. Then we start now, say. Oh, the next 3 hours passed in a blur. Adrian took her to a different building, newer, cleaner, with security that actually looked at her ID. His office was on the 20th floor, all glass and steel and city views that made Lena's stomach drop. Sit, Adrian said, gesturing to a leather couch that probably cost more than her entire apartment's furniture combined. I'll get coffee. Lena sat. She didn't want coffee. She wanted answers. She wanted to scream. She wanted to find Victor Hale, and she forced herself to breathe. Falling apart wouldn't help Noah. Adrian returned with 2 mugs, set one in front of her, and took the chair across the coffee table. I'm going to explain everything I know. It's going to be overwhelming, but you need to hear all of it before you decide if you want to move forward. I already decided, Lena said. You decided in the heat of the moment. I need you to decide with full information. Adrian took a sip of his coffee. Victor Hale isn't just a businessman, he's a fixer. He specializes in making problems disappear for wealthy clients. Sometimes those problems are legal, bad press, contract disputes. But often they're not. Missing evidence, silenced witnesses, inconvenient heirs who suddenly sign over their inheritances. Like me, Lena said flatly. Like you. But you're different. Most of his targets don't have someone looking into their situations. You got lucky. Lucky. Lena laughed bitterly. I was about to sign my life away. But you didn't. Adrian set his mug down. Here's what I know about your mother's music. Sarah Hart composed under her own name, but she also ghost-wrote for a production company called Meridian Media. Victor Hale was a silent partner in that company. When your mother discovered that Meridian was using her work without proper credit or payment, she sued. She won. The settlement included full rights to her catalog and a substantial payout. She never told me, Lena said quietly. She never said anything about a lawsuit. She probably didn't want you to worry. You were in college at the time, right? Lena nodded. She'd been finishing her junior year at State, studying music education. Then her mother got sick, and Lena dropped out to help care for her. By the time Sarah died, Lena had been out of school for almost 2 years, drowning in medical bills. The settlement was finalized 3 weeks before your mother's diagnosis, Adrian continued. She set up a trust. Everything was supposed to go to you and Noah. But Victor had already started making moves. He falsified documents, created shell companies. By the time your mother died, he'd buried the trust so deep you'd need a forensic accountant to find it. Why didn't he just take the money and run? Why come after me now? Because he couldn't fully liquidate without triggering alarms. The trust has safeguards. But if you married him willingly, those safeguards disappear. He'd have total control. Lena's head throbbed. So what do we do? Adrian pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen, and turned it toward her. We build a case. Fraud, extortion, theft. We gather every piece of evidence, emails, bank transfers, witness statements, and we make sure that when we move against him, he can't wriggle free. How long will that take? Weeks, maybe months. Victor's careful. He's been doing this for years. I don't have months, Lena said. Her voice rose despite herself. He could go after Noah. He won't. Adrian's voice was firm. I told you I have people watching your brother. Around the clock. Victor knows that. He's not stupid enough to make a move when he's being monitored. Lena wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust this stranger who'd appeared out of nowhere and upended her entire world. But trust was a luxury she hadn't been able to afford in a long time. Why are you doing this? She asked. Really? You said you've been investigating him for months, but you don't know me. Why help? Adrian was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer. 8 months ago, a woman named Claire Donovan disappeared. She was 32, a paralegal, engaged to be married. Then her fiancé died in a car accident, and she inherited his estate. 2 weeks later, she vanished. No trace. Her family hired me to find her. Lena's stomach dropped. You think Victor? I know he did. I have footage of her entering a building he owns. She never came out. But I can't prove it. Not yet. The building's been scrubbed clean. No records, no witnesses, nothing. Adrian's jaw tightened. Claire is why I've been watching Victor. You're not the first woman he's targeted. But you might be the first one I can save. The weight of that statement settled over Lena like a shroud. Another woman. Another life destroyed. Did she have family? Lena asked quietly. A sister. She calls me every week asking for updates. Lena closed her eyes. She thought about what it would feel like to lose Noah like that. To spend every day wondering if he was alive, if he was suffering, if she'd ever see him again. When she opened her eyes, Adrian was watching her. I want to help, Lena said. With Claire. With all of it. Tell me what to do. Adrian studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. First thing. You need somewhere safe to stay. Your apartment isn't secure. Victor knows where you live. Lena's chest tightened. I can't just leave. My stuff... I'll have someone pack it. You and Noah can stay in one of my properties. Furnished, secure, monitored. I can't afford... You're not paying for it. Adrian held up a hand before she could argue. Consider it part of the investigation. Protective custody. And before you say you don't need charity, you do. This isn't pride. This is survival. Lena hated that he was right, hated that she was so far underwater she couldn't even pretend to stand on her own. Okay, she said. What else? You need to act normal. If Victor realizes you're working against him, he'll accelerate. That means going to work if you have a job, keeping your routines. Can you do that? Lena almost laughed. I don't have a job. Victor made sure of that, remember? Then we'll get you one. Something public, something that keeps you visible and accounted for. What are your skills? Music, teaching. I used to tutor kids in piano and violin before... She cut herself off. Before Victor blacklisted you, Adrian finished. We'll fix that. I know a community center that's looking for instructors. They're clean, no connection to Victor. Can you start this week? The speed of it all made Lena dizzy. An hour ago, she'd been about to sign away her future. Now she had a place to live, a job prospect, and a plan to take down the man who'd ruined her life. It felt too easy, like a trap. How do I know I can trust you? The question came out before Lena could stop it. Adrian didn't look offended. You don't? I'm a stranger. I could be lying about everything. But here's what you do know. I stopped you from signing that contract. I told you about the money. I offered you protection without asking for anything in return. If I wanted to hurt you, I've had plenty of opportunities. That was true. And yet, what do you get out of this? Lena pressed. You said you're building a case against Victor. But what happens when you have enough evidence? Do you go to the police, the FBI? Both eventually, but first I want to make sure he can't hurt anyone else. That means dismantling his entire operation, freezing his assets, exposing everyone he works with. Adrian leaned forward. I'm not a cop, Lena. I don't play by their rules. When I go after someone, I don't just want them arrested. I want them destroyed. There was something almost frightening in the way he said it, a quiet intensity that reminded Lena of a coiled snake. And you think I can help with that? She asked. I know you can. You're the key to everything. The money, the trust, the marriage scheme. It all revolves around you. If we can prove that Victor manipulated your life to get access to your mother's estate, we can connect him to Claire's disappearance. We can unravel the whole operation. Lena's hands clenched into fists. Then let's do it. Adrian smiled, a real smile, small but genuine. Good. Let's get started. The next 2 weeks were the strangest of Lena's life. Adrian moved her and Noah into a townhouse in a quiet neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, a backyard, a kitchen that actually had food in it. Noah, confused but adaptable, accepted the change with teenage resilience. Is this guy your boyfriend or something? He asked the second night, sprawled on the couch with a bag of chips. No, Lena said quickly. He's helping us. That's all. Noah gave her a look that said he didn't believe her but wasn't going to push it. Cool. Can I have friends over? Not yet. We need to keep a low profile for a while. Why? Lena hesitated. She hadn't told Noah about Victor, about the contract, about any of it. He knew their lives had been hard, but he didn't know why. Didn't know someone had been orchestrating their misery. Just trust me, okay? She said finally. Noah shrugged and went back to his chips. Lena started teaching at the community center. 3 classes a week, beginner piano for kids, intermediate violin for teens, and a mixed adult session on Thursday nights. The pay wasn't much, but it was steady, and more importantly, it was real. Her students were eager, unpolished, and completely unaware that their teacher was in the middle of a war with a criminal. Lena liked it that way. Between classes, she met with Adrian, sometimes at his office, sometimes at coffee shops, once in a park where they walked laps while discussing evidence. Victor's been moving money, Adrian said during one of their park meetings. Offshore accounts in the Caymans. He's getting nervous. Does he know we're watching him? Lena asked. Not yet, but he's smart. He knows something's wrong. Lena kicked a pebble off the path. Fall was settling into the city, the air crisp and sharp. She'd always liked autumn. It felt like the world was preparing for something. What's our timeline? She asked. We need 6 more weeks, maybe 8. I'm waiting on bank records from overseas. Once I have those, we can move. 6 weeks. Lena could survive 6 weeks. She'd survived worse. What about Claire? She asked quietly. Have you found anything new? Adrian's expression darkened. No, but I haven't stopped looking. They walked in silence for a while. Lena thought about the sister who called every week, hoping for news that never came. She thought about what it would feel like to be in that woman's place, waiting, wondering, grieving someone who might still be alive. When this is over, Lena said, I want to meet her, Claire's sister. Adrian glanced at her. Why? Because she deserves to know that someone's fighting for her. Even if we don't find Claire, she should know she wasn't forgotten. Something shifted in Adrian's face. You're a better person than most people I work with. I'm not better, I'm just angry. Lena looked up at the trees, their leaves turning gold and red. Victor took everything from me. If there's even a chance he did the same to Claire, then we owe it to her to make him pay. Adrian nodded. Agreed. On a cold Tuesday in late October, everything changed. Lena was teaching her Thursday night class, adults this time, a mix of retirees and working professionals learning piano for fun. She was in the middle of explaining chord progressions when her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Then it buzzed again and again. Sorry, Lena said, pulling it out. I need to check this. 3 messages from Adrian. Call me now. It's urgent. Don't go home. Lena's stomach dropped. I'm sorry, everyone. I have to step out for a minute. Keep practicing. I'll be right back. She walked into the hallway, hands shaking as she dialed Adrian's number. He picked up on the first ring. Where are you? Community center. What's wrong? Victor knows. I don't know how, but he knows we're building a case. He moved everything. The money, the accounts, all of it. And he's coming after you. Lena's breath caught. Noah is safe. My team pulled him out of school an hour ago. He's at the townhouse with 2 guards. But you need to get somewhere public and stay there. Do not go anywhere alone. I'm sending a car to pick you up. Adrian, what happened? One of Victor's associates turned up dead this morning. Overdose, they're calling it. But it wasn't an accident. He was about to testify against Victor, and now he's gone. Adrian's voice was tight with anger. Victor's cleaning house. Anyone who could hurt him is a target. That includes you. Lena's knees went weak. She leaned against the wall, trying to breathe. How long until the car gets here? She managed. 10 minutes. Stay inside. Stay visible. And Lena. Yeah? Don't trust anyone you don't know. Victor has people everywhere. The line went dead. Lena stood in the empty hallway, her phone clutched in her hand, and realized with stark clarity that this was real. Not a legal battle fought in courtrooms. Not a game of paperwork and evidence. This was life and death. And she was already in too deep to turn back. The car arrived in 8 minutes, not 10. A black sedan with tinted windows and a driver who didn't introduce himself. Lena climbed into the back seat, her heart hammering so hard she could feel it in her throat. Where are we going? She asked. The driver's eyes met hers in the rearview mirror. Somewhere safe, ma'am. Mr. Cross will meet you there. The somewhere safe turned out to be a hotel downtown. Expensive, the kind with a doorman and marble floors and chandeliers that probably cost more than Lena's entire childhood. The driver walked her through the lobby to a private elevator, used a key card, and pressed the button for the top floor. Room 2401, he said. Mr. Cross is already inside. The elevator doors closed, leaving Lena alone with her reflection in the polished brass. She looked terrible, pale, hollow-eyed, her hair falling out of the ponytail she'd thrown it into that morning. She looked like someone running for her life. Because she was. The elevator opened directly into the suite. Adrian was standing by the window, phone pressed to his ear, his voice low and clipped. When he saw Lena, he ended the call. Are you hurt? He asked immediately. No, I'm fine. Where's Noah? Still at the townhouse. I have 4 people with him now. He's scared but safe. Adrian gestured to the couch. Sit. We need to talk. Lena sat. Her legs were shaking, a delayed reaction finally catching up to her adrenaline. You said Victor's cleaning house. What does that mean for us? It means he's escalating faster than I anticipated. The associate who died, Marcus Webb, he was Victor's accountant. He had access to everything. Financial records, shell companies, offshore transfers. I'd been working on flipping him, getting him to cooperate. He was close to agreeing. Adrian's jaw tightened. Victor must have found out. So he killed him. He had him killed. Victor doesn't get his own hands dirty. He has people for that. Lena's stomach turned. And you think I'm next? I think you're a liability he can't afford. You know too much. You're connected to the money, and now you're working with me. Adrian sat down across from her. But here's the thing, Victor still needs you. He can't access the trust without you, so he won't kill you. Not yet. But he'll try to control you again, force your hand. How? Adrian hesitated. Through Noah. The words hit Lena like ice water. You said he was safe. He is. For now. But Victor's going to make a move. He's going to try to take Noah, use him as leverage to get you to cooperate. That's his pattern. That's what he does. Lena stood up, pacing the length of the suite. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then we get Noah out of the city. We send him somewhere Victor can't reach. Where? Victor has resources everywhere, money, connections, people who owe him favors. Unless we send Noah out of the country, there's nowhere he'd be completely safe. Then we send him out of the country. Adrian shook his head. That creates other problems, legal issues, and it doesn't solve the root problem. Victor won't stop until he gets what he wants. Then what do we do? Lena's voice cracked. Just wait for him to make a move? Hope your guards are good enough? No. Adrian stood, moving to a desk in the corner. He pulled out a laptop, opened it, and turned the screen toward Lena. We move first. The screen showed a document, legal, dense with text Lena didn't fully understand, but she caught enough. Trust dissolution, asset transfer, immediate liquidation. What is this? She asked. Your way out. We liquidate the trust. Move all the money into a secure account under your name. Once it's in your control, Victor has nothing to gain from coming after you. The leverage disappears. Lena stared at the screen. $12 million. The number still didn't feel real. And then what? We just walk away? No. Then we finish building the case and destroy him, but at least you and Noah will be safe while we do it. It sounded logical, smart even, but something in Lena's gut twisted. Victor won't let it go that easily. You said it yourself. He's been planning this for years. He's not going to just accept losing. He won't have a choice. Once the money's out of his reach, he has no legal claim, and if he comes after you anyway, he's exposing himself, making mistakes. That's when we catch him. Lena looked at Adrian, really looked at him. He was calm, controlled, every word measured. But there was something underneath, an edge of anger he kept carefully leashed. You want him to come after me, Lena said slowly. You're using me as bait. Adrian's expression didn't change. I'm giving you a way to protect your brother and take back what's yours. If Victor makes a move after that, it's his choice, not mine. But you're hoping he does. Yes. Adrian didn't flinch from it. Because when he does, I'll be ready, and this time I'll have enough to put him away for life. Lena should have been angry, should have felt used, manipulated, but instead she felt something else. Relief. Because Adrian was giving her permission to do what she'd wanted since the moment she learned the truth. Fight back. How long will the transfer take? She asked. 72 hours, maybe less if we expedite. Do it. Adrian studied her for a moment. You're sure? I'm sure. Lena crossed her arms, trying to stop the shaking. But I want something in return. What? I want to know everything, no more surprises. If you're using me to catch Victor, I deserve to know the full plan. Adrian nodded slowly. Fair enough. He spent the next hour laying it out. The evidence he'd gathered, the gaps he still needed to fill, the timeline for moving against Victor. Lena listened, absorbing every word, her mind cataloging details like she used to catalog sheet music. By the time Adrian finished, it was past midnight. Lena's head ached, her body heavy with exhaustion. You should sleep, Adrian said. There's a bedroom through that door. I'll stay out here. You're staying? Until we know Victor's next move, I'm not leaving you unprotected. Lena wanted to argue, wanted to say she didn't need a bodyguard. But the truth was, she did, and she was tired of pretending otherwise. Thank you, she said quietly. Adrian just nodded. Lena went into the bedroom, closed the door, and collapsed onto the bed without bothering to change. Sleep pulled her under fast, dark, and dreamless. She woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the smell of coffee. For a disorienting moment, she forgot where she was. Then it all came rushing back. Lena sat up, her body stiff from sleeping in her clothes. The clock on the nightstand read 8:47 a.m. She'd slept almost 9 hours. When she emerged from the bedroom, Adrian was at the desk, laptop open, phone in one hand and coffee in the other. He looked like he hadn't slept at all. "Morning," he said without looking up. "There's breakfast in the kitchen." The suite had a kitchen. Of course it did. Lena poured herself coffee, found a croissant wrapped in paper, and sat at the small table by the window. "Any news?" she asked. "The transfer's in progress. Should be complete by tomorrow evening." Adrian finally looked up. "And I heard from one of my contacts at the police department. Victor's been making calls, asking about you, trying to figure out where you are." Lena's hand tightened around her coffee mug. "Did he find out?" "No, but he's looking hard, which means he's worried." "Good." The word surprised Lena, but she meant it. She wanted Victor worried, wanted him scrambling. Adrian's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, frowned, and answered. "Cross." Lena couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but she watched Adrian's expression shift, from neutral to alert to something darker. "When?" he asked sharply. Then, "I'm on my way." He hung up. His eyes met Lena's. "What happened?" she asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. "There's been an incident at the townhouse." Lena's heart stopped. "Noah is fine, completely unharmed, but someone tried to breach the perimeter last night. My team stopped them, but it was close." Lena stood so fast her chair scraped the floor. "I need to see him." "Not yet. It's not safe." "I don't care. He's my brother. He's probably terrified. He's with people who know how to keep him calm." Adrian's voice was firm but not unkind. "If you show up now, you'll just confirm to Victor that you're rattled, that his play worked." "His play?" Lena's voice rose. "Someone tried to kidnap my brother. That's not a play, that's exactly what Victor wanted. He's testing our defenses, seeing how we react. If we panic, he'll know he's got leverage." Adrian stood, closing the laptop. "I'm going to the townhouse to assess the situation. You're staying here with security outside the door. Once I know it's safe, I'll bring Noah to you. But until then, you stay put." Lena wanted to scream, wanted to throw something, but the rational part of her brain, the part that had kept her and Noah alive for 3 years, knew Adrian was right. "Fine," she said, "but I want to talk to Noah on the phone, right now." Adrian pulled out his phone, dialed, and handed it to her. "Lena?" Noah's voice was small, younger than usual. "Hey buddy, you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. These guys are pretty cool, actually. One of them taught me how to play poker." Despite everything, Lena almost laughed. "Of course he did. Are you coming home soon?" Home. The townhouse wasn't home, but it was the safest place they had right now. "Soon," Lena said. "I promise. Just hang tight, okay? Do whatever the guards tell you." "Okay." A pause. "Lena? What's going on?" "Really?" Lena closed her eyes. She'd been protecting Noah from the truth for so long. But maybe that had been a mistake. Maybe he deserved to know. "There's a bad man who wants to hurt us," she said carefully. "But we have good people helping us stay safe. That's all you need to know right now." "Is it the guy you were supposed to marry?" Lena's breath caught. "How do you know about that?" "I heard you talking to Adrian. I'm not stupid, Lena." No, he wasn't. He was 14, and he'd spent the last 3 years watching their lives fall apart. Of course he'd picked up on things. "Yeah," Lena said. "It's him, but we're going to stop him, I promise." "Good." Noah's voice hardened. "Because if he tries to hurt you, you'll stay safe and let the adults handle it," Lena interrupted. "That's the best thing you can do for me, okay?" "Okay." They said goodbye. Lena handed the phone back to Adrian. "He's a good kid," Adrian said. "He's the only thing that matters." Lena looked out the window at the city below. Somewhere out there, Victor was planning his next move. "When this is over, I want him to have a normal life. No more running, no more fear." "He will," Adrian said. "I'll make sure of it." Then he left, and Lena was alone with her thoughts and a security guard posted outside the door. The next 24 hours were the longest of Lena's life. She paced the suite, tried to read, gave up, and ended up staring at her mother's music files on her phone. Adrian had sent them over weeks ago, digital copies of every composition Sarah Hart had ever registered. Lena plugged in headphones and listened. Piano pieces, string arrangements, haunting melodies that sounded like her mother's voice. She hadn't been able to listen before. It hurt too much. But now, sitting in a hotel room while her life hung in the balance, the music felt like armor, a reminder of why she was fighting. Her mother had created something beautiful, and Victor Hale had tried to steal it. Not anymore. Adrian returned that evening with Noah. Her brother looked tired but unharmed, and Lena pulled him into a hug so tight he complained. "I'm fine," Noah muttered. "Seriously, you're being weird." "Let me be weird," Lena said. They ordered room service, burgers and fries that cost more than Lena used to spend on groceries for a week. Noah ate like he hadn't seen food in days. Lena picked at her plate, watching Adrian talk quietly on the phone in the corner. When he hung up, his expression was carefully neutral. That scared her more than if he'd looked worried. "What?" Lena asked. "The transfer's complete. The money's in your account. You're officially the sole owner of your mother's estate." Lena waited. There was more. She could feel it. "Victor knows," Adrian continued, "and he's furious. I've had 3 separate sources confirm that he's mobilizing, calling in favors, moving assets. He's preparing for something big." "Like what?" "I don't know yet, but we need to be ready." Adrian glanced at Noah, who was absorbed in his phone. "I'm moving you both again. Tomorrow morning, somewhere even Victor can't trace." "Where?" "You'll find out when we get there." Lena hated the secrecy, but she understood it. The less she knew, the less she could accidentally reveal. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Noah slept in the other room. Adrian was on the couch again, refusing to leave. Lena should have felt safe, but all she felt was the weight of waiting. Victor was coming. She knew it the way you know a storm is coming. Pressure in the air, a charge that made your skin prickle. And when he came, there would be no more running. The move happened at dawn. 2 cars, 3 guards, a route that doubled back on itself twice to throw off anyone following. Lena and Noah ended up in a cabin an hour outside the city, isolated, surrounded by trees, with sight lines that made it impossible to approach unseen. "It's not permanent," Adrian said as they unloaded bags. "Just until we know what Victor's planning." Lena looked around. The cabin was nice, rustic but comfortable. A far cry from the hotel suite, but safer, harder to find. "How long?" she asked. "A week. Maybe 2. Noah surprisingly seemed fine with it. "It's like camping," he said, exploring the loft bedroom. "Except with Wi-Fi." Adrian left that afternoon, promising to return with updates. Lena spent the rest of the day trying to settle in, unpacking the few belongings they'd brought, making meals in a kitchen that smelled like pine. That night, after Noah went to bed, Lena sat on the porch with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. The stars were brighter out here, away from the city lights. She tried to remember the last time she'd looked at stars. Before their mother died, probably. Before everything fell apart. Her phone buzzed, a text from Adrian. "New development, call me when you can." Lena dialed immediately. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, actually something's right for once." Adrian sounded almost pleased. "I got the bank records from the Caymans. Everything Victor's been hiding, it's all there. Shell companies, falsified transactions, payments to people who shouldn't be on any payroll, and there's something else." "What?" "A property. Purchased under one of Victor's shell companies 3 years ago. Remote location, minimal records. If I had to guess where someone might hide a person they didn't want found," Lena's breath caught. "Claire." "Maybe. I'm sending a team to check it out tomorrow." "I want to come." "Absolutely not. You're staying where you're safe." "Adrian, if she's there, if she's alive." "Then my team will find her. You being there doesn't help. It just puts you at risk." Lena wanted to argue, but he was right. Again. "Promise me you'll call as soon as you know something," she said. "I promise." The call ended. Lena sat in the dark, holding her phone, and let herself hope for the first time in weeks. Maybe they could save Claire. Maybe they could stop Victor. Maybe this nightmare actually had an ending. The next day crawled by. Lena tried to distract herself by teaching Noah some advanced piano techniques, but her heart wasn't in it. She kept checking her phone, waiting for news. It came at 4:17 p.m. Found her. Alive. Sending medical now. Lena's hand shook as she read the message, then read it again. Alive. Claire Donovan was alive. She called Adrian immediately. Is she okay? She's alive. That's all I know right now. She's dehydrated, malnourished, but conscious. The team's bringing her to a hospital. Does her sister know? I'm calling her next. Lena closed her eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We still have to prove Victor put her there. The property's in a shell company's name. He'll deny everything. But Claire can testify if she remembers enough, if she's willing, if she's strong enough. Adrian's voice softened. This is good news, Lena, but the fight's not over. Lena knew that, but for the first time since this whole thing started, she felt like they were winning. That night, Adrian called again. Claire's stable, she's talking, and she confirmed Victor was behind her disappearance. She has names, dates, details. It's everything we need. So we can go to the police now? Not yet. I want to make this airtight. Give me 2 more days, then we move. 2 days. Lena could handle 2 days, except Victor didn't wait that long. The attack came on the second night. Lena was in the kitchen making tea when she heard the first gunshot. The sound was so sudden, so loud, that she dropped the mug. It shattered on the floor, ceramic pieces scattering. Noah! She screamed, already running. He was coming down the stairs, eyes wide with fear. What was that? Get in the bathroom. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you. Lena, now! More shots. The guards outside were returning fire, shouting commands Lena couldn't make out. She grabbed Noah and shoved him toward the bathroom, then looked around wildly for something, anything, she could use as a weapon. A kitchen knife. That was all she had. She grabbed it just as the front window exploded inward. Glass sprayed across the living room. A figure climbed through, dressed in black, face covered. Lena didn't think. She just moved. She lunged, knife raised, and the intruder caught her wrist. They struggled, crashing into furniture. And Lena realized with sick clarity that she was outmatched. Whoever this was, they were trained, strong. Then another shot rang out, closer this time, and the intruder jerked, stumbling backward. One of Adrian's guards appeared in the doorway, gun raised. Get down, he shouted. Lena dropped to the floor. More gunfire. Chaos. She crawled toward the bathroom, her only thought getting to Noah. She pounded on the door. It's me! Open up! The lock clicked. Noah pulled her inside and they huddled together in the bathtub while the world exploded around them. It felt like hours. It was probably minutes, then silence. Footsteps approached. Lena tightened her grip on the knife. Miss Hart? The guard's voice. It's clear. You can come out. Lena didn't move. How do I know it's really you? Your brother's favorite band is The Killers. You made him eggs this morning. You burned toast every single time. Lena almost laughed. Almost. She unlocked the door. The guard stood there, blood on his sleeve but upright. We need to move, now. More could be coming. They left the cabin in the dark, Noah clutching Lena's hand so hard it hurt. The scene outside was worse than she'd imagined. 2 bodies on the ground, one of the guards being loaded into a car, injured but alive. Adrian arrived 20 minutes later and the look on his face was pure fury. How did they find you? He demanded. I don't know, Lena said. She was shaking, couldn't stop. I swear we didn't tell anyone. I'm not blaming you. I'm figuring out who leaked. Adrian's jaw was tight. But this changes things. We can't wait anymore. We move against Victor tomorrow. How? Adrian looked at her and something in his expression sent chills down her spine. We're going to give him what he wants, he said. You. Lena stared at Adrian like he'd lost his mind. Are you serious? You want to use me as bait? Not bait. A weapon. Adrian gestured to one of his guards. Get them to the safe house. I'll meet you there in an hour. They drove in silence through streets that looked foreign in the dark. Noah had finally stopped shaking, but he wouldn't let go of Lena's hand. She didn't pull away. The safe house was actually a penthouse apartment in the financial district, all glass and steel and security cameras on every corner. Adrian's team swept them inside, checked every room, then posted guards at the elevator and stairwell. Lena got Noah settled in one of the bedrooms. He looked small under the expensive sheets, younger than 14. "I'm scared," he said quietly. Lena sat on the edge of the bed. "Me too." "Really?" "Yeah, really." She brushed hair off his forehead. "But we're going to get through this, I promise." "You can't promise that." He was right. She couldn't, but she said it anyway, because sometimes lies were kinder than truth. When Noah finally fell asleep, Lena found Adrian in the living room, surrounded by laptops and documents spread across the coffee table. He looked up when she entered. "We need to talk," he said. Lena sat across from him, from Shaz. "About your insane plan to hand me over to a man who just tried to kill me?" "I'm not handing you over. I'm setting a trap." Adrian pushed a folder toward her. "Victor wants you because he still thinks he can control the situation. He thinks if he eliminates you, the money defaults to the state and he can manipulate the probate process. What he doesn't know is that I've already moved everything into an irrevocable trust with Noah as the primary beneficiary. If anything happens to you, Victor gets nothing." "So what's the play?" "We let Victor think he's won. We arrange a meeting, somewhere public, somewhere he feels safe. You show up, he makes his move, and we have every second documented on camera with federal agents ready to move in." Lena's throat went dry. "You want me to meet with him face to face? It's the only way to catch him in the act. Conspiracy to commit murder, attempted kidnapping, fraud. We'll have everything we need to put him away forever. And if something goes wrong, if he doesn't wait for the cameras, if he just shoots me the second I walk in?" Adrian's expression darkened. "That won't happen. I'll be there. My entire team will be there. You'll be wearing a wire, and we'll have snipers positioned with clear sight lines. Victor won't be able to breathe without us knowing." It sounded solid, professional, like something out of a crime procedural. But Lena had learned the hard way that plans fell apart. "What about Noah?" she asked. "If I do this, if I put myself out there, Victor might go after him instead. Noah will be in federal protective custody by tomorrow morning. Victor won't get within a mile of him." Lena looked down at her hands. They were still shaking, had been since the cabin. "When would this happen?" 3 days. There's a charity gala at the Grandview Theater. Victor's hosting. He'll be surrounded by press, cameras, the city's elite. Perfect cover for a confrontation that looks accidental." "A gala?" Lena almost laughed. "You want me to crash a party? I want you to walk in like you own the place. Show him you're not afraid. And when he makes his move, we end him." Lena thought about the contract she'd almost signed, the pen trembling in her hand, the way Victor had looked at her like she was a problem to be solved. She thought about her mother's music, stolen and buried. About Claire Donovan, locked away for 8 months. About Noah, sleeping in the next room, who deserved a life without fear. "Okay," Lena said. "I'll do it." Adrian nodded slowly. "Good. We start preparing tomorrow." The next 3 days were a blur of planning and preparation. Adrian brought in specialists, a federal prosecutor who walked Lena through what she'd need to say and do, a tech expert who fitted her with a wire so thin she couldn't feel it, a behavioral analyst who taught her how to read Victor's tells. "He's going to try to isolate you," the analyst said. She was a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and no patience for small talk. "Get you alone, away from witnesses. Don't let him. Stay in public spaces. Keep talking. The more you engage, the more he'll reveal." "What if he doesn't take the bait?" Lena asked. "He will. Men like Victor can't help themselves. They need to win. And right now, you represent his biggest failure." Lena also met with Claire Donovan. The woman was thinner than her photos, her eyes hollow but fierce. She sat in a hospital bed with her sister beside her, holding her hand. "Thank you," Claire said when Lena walked in. Her voice was hoarse, damaged from months of screaming that no one heard. "For not giving up, for fighting back." Lena felt tears burn her eyes. "I didn't do anything. Adrian found you." "But you're the reason he kept looking." Claire's grip tightened on her sister's hand. "Victor told me I was the first, that he'd done this before and would do it again. He said no one cared enough to stop him." "He was wrong," Lena said quietly. Claire nodded. "Make him pay. For me, for everyone." Well, Lena promised she would. On the night of the gala, Lena stood in front of a mirror and barely recognized herself. Adrian had hired a stylist, a woman who'd transformed Lena's exhaustion into something that looked like elegance. The dress was deep blue, simple but expensive, the kind of thing her mother might have worn to a recording session that mattered. Her mother. Lena touched the necklace at her throat, a small silver treble clef that had belonged to Sarah Hart. She'd found it in his box of recordings, tucked into a sheet music folder. "You ready?" Adrian appeared in the doorway. He was in a tux, looking uncomfortable but dangerous. "No," Lena said honestly, "but I'm doing it anyway." They arrived at the Grandview Theater separately. Adrian went in first, part of the security detail. Lena came 20 minutes later, alone, walking through doors that felt like the entrance to a battlefield. The theater was stunning. All gold leaf and red velvet, chandeliers throwing light across a crowd of people who'd never worried about rent or food or whether they'd survive the week. Lena spotted Victor immediately, center of the room, holding court with a group of men in expensive suits. He saw her the same moment she saw him. His expression didn't change, but something in his posture shifted. Tension. Recognition. Rage. Carefully controlled. Lena walked toward him like she had every right to be there. The crowd parted. Conversations stuttered and stopped. By the time Lena reached Victor, half the room was watching. "Lena," Victor said smoothly. "What a surprise." "Is it?" Lena kept her voice level. "I thought you'd be expecting me. After all, you did try to kill me 3 nights ago." The men around Victor shifted uncomfortably. Someone coughed. "I have no idea what you're talking about," Victor said. His smile was sharp. "Though I have to say, you look well. Better than I expected, considering you've spent 3 years destroying my life?" Victor's jaw tightened. "I think you're confused. Perhaps we should discuss this somewhere private." "No thanks. I'm good right here." Lena glanced around at the watching faces. "Actually, I think everyone should hear this. About how you stole my mother's music, how you tried to force me into marriage to cover it up, how you locked Claire Donovan in a basement for 8 months. Victor's expression finally cracked. "You're making serious accusations. I hope you have proof." "I do." Lena pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, and held it up. $12 million in stolen royalties, bank records showing transfers from your shell companies, recorded calls between you and your accountant discussing how to handle me. She was bluffing. The recordings existed, but not on her phone. But Victor didn't know that. "You're bluffing," he said, but his voice had lost its smoothness. "Am I?" Lena stepped closer. "Want to bet your freedom on it?" Victor's hand moved toward his jacket. Lena saw it. The motion so small most people would miss it, but she'd been trained to watch for exactly this. Adrian appeared at Victor's side so fast it looked like teleportation. His hand clamped around Victor's wrist. "I wouldn't," Adrian said quietly. Victor froze. Around them, the crowd had gone silent, phones out, recording everything. "This is assault," Victor hissed. "I'll have you arrested." "Go ahead. Call the police. I'm sure they'd love to hear about the gun you're reaching for." Adrian twisted Victor's arm slightly, and something metallic clattered to the floor. A pistol. Small, easily concealed. Someone in the crowd gasped. Victor jerked away from Adrian, his composure completely shattered now. "You don't know what you're doing, either of you. I have connections, resources. You think you can just walk in here and destroy me?" "I don't think," Lena said. "I know." She gestured toward the stage. The lights dimmed. The crowd turned. On the massive screens behind the stage, images began to appear. Documents, bank statements, photos of the property where Claire had been held. And then, video. Victor's voice filled the theater, recorded from a conversation weeks ago with his now dead accountant. "The Hart girl is becoming a problem. If we can't control her through the brother, we'll have to find another solution. Permanent this time." The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Phones raised higher, cameras flashing. Victor's face had gone white. "That's fabricated, edited. You can't—" The video changed. Security footage from the cabin, showing the attack, showing men in tactical gear, traceable through phone records back to a company Victor owned. Then more footage. Claire Donovan, stumbling out of a basement, blinking in sunlight she hadn't seen in months. And finally, the worst one. Another woman. Older footage, grainier. A police report filed and then mysteriously closed. A missing person case gone cold. Melissa Reeves, dead 3 years. Victor's first wife. Lena hadn't known about her until yesterday, when Adrian's team found the sealed records. An accidental overdose, the report said. But the evidence told a different story. Victor lunged at Lena. He didn't make it 2 steps before Adrian's team moved in. 4 agents, coordinated, professional. They had Victor on the ground in seconds, hands cuffed behind his back. "Victor Hale, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, racketeering, and kidnapping," one of the agents said, reading rights that Victor probably couldn't even hear over the sound of his own rage. He was still screaming when they dragged him out, screaming about lies, about frame-ups, about how Lena would regret this. Lena just watched him go. The theater erupted in chaos after that, press swarming, police securing the scene, guests trying to leave or get closer, or both. Lena stood in the center of it all, feeling oddly detached. Adrian found her. "You okay?" "I don't know." Lena looked at her hands. They weren't shaking anymore. "Is it really over?" "The arrest is real. The evidence is solid. He's not walking away from this. But the trial will take months, maybe a year. But he's not getting bail. Not with what we have on him." Adrian's expression softened slightly. "You did it, Lena. You took him down." Lena wanted to feel triumphant, victorious, but mostly she just felt tired. "I need to see Noah," she said. Adrian nodded. "I'll take you to him." They left through a side exit, avoiding the press. The car ride was quiet. Lena watched the city pass by. Lights blurring together, people living their lives completely unaware that a monster had just been caged. Noah was at the safe house, still under guard but calmer than Lena had seen him in weeks. When she walked in, he jumped up from the couch. "I saw the news," he said. His eyes were wide. "They're saying you took down some crime boss, that he's going to prison for like 50 years. "Maybe longer," Lena said. Noah hugged her, quick and awkward the way teenage boys do. "You're kind of a badass." Lena laughed, the sound surprising her. "Language? You literally just destroyed a guy on live TV. I think I'm allowed to say badass." "Fair point." That night, after Noah went to bed, Lena sat with Adrian on the penthouse balcony. The city sprawled below them, endless and indifferent. "What happens now?" Lena asked. "Now? You and Noah get your lives back. The trust is secure. Your mother's music is yours. You can do whatever you want." Whatever she wanted. The concept felt foreign. "What about you?" Lena asked. Adrian was quiet for a moment. "I have other cases. Other people who need help." "So you just move on? Find the next victim? Build the next case?" "That's the job." Lena looked at him, really looked, at the controlled stillness, the careful distance he kept from everything. "Do you ever stop? Take a break?" "No." "Why not?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "Because if I stop, people like Victor win, and I can't—" He cut himself off. "Can't what?" "Can't let that happen again." There was a story there, pain buried deep. Lena didn't push. "Thank you," she said instead. "For everything, for saving me, for believing me when no one else did." "You saved yourself," Adrian said. "I just gave you the tools." Lena wasn't sure that was true, but she let it stand. The next few weeks were surreal. Victor's arrest made national news, the evidence too damning, too public to bury. His empire collapsed almost overnight. Associates scrambled to distance themselves. Assets frozen, accounts seized. Claire Donovan gave a statement that broke the internet. Melissa Reeves' family reopened her case with new evidence. 3 other women came forward with stories of narrow escapes from Victor's schemes. Lena testified in front of a grand jury, told her story in a windowless room with a court reporter and a prosecutor who treated her like she was made of glass. She hated every second of it. But it worked. Victor Hale was indicted on 47 counts. The trial date was set for the following spring. His lawyers tried every trick to get evidence thrown out, charges reduced, bail granted. None of it worked. Lena moved out of the safe house and into a real apartment. Modest, but hers. She and Noah decorated it together, arguing about paint colors and furniture placement like normal people with normal problems. She went back to teaching at the community center. Her students had seen the news, and for a week she was a minor celebrity. Then the novelty wore off, and they went back to complaining about scales and finger exercises. Lena preferred it that way. Adrian checked in occasionally. Brief calls, sometimes just texts. He was working another case, he said. Couldn't talk about it. Lena told herself she didn't miss him. She was lying. One afternoon in late November, Lena got a call from an unknown number. "Miss Hart, this is Catherine Wells. I'm a producer with Apex Films." Lena almost hung up, assuming it was press. But something made her pause. "I'm not interested in interviews." "This isn't about an interview. It's about your mother's music. We're developing a series, and we'd like to license several of her compositions for the score." Lena sat down slowly. "You want to use my mother's work? We think it would be perfect, haunting, emotional, exactly what the project needs. Of course, we'd compensate you appropriately." They talked for an hour. Catherine sent over contracts, sample episodes, creative direction. It was legitimate, professional, exciting. Lena signed the deal a week later. The money wasn't life-changing. The trust had already taken care of that. But the recognition was. Her mother's name in the credits. Her music reaching audiences who'd never heard it before. Sarah Hart's legacy, finally getting the respect it deserved. Lena called Adrian to tell him. He answered on the third ring. "That's good," he said when she finished explaining. "Your mother would be proud." "I hope so." Lena hesitated. "How's your case going?" "Complicated, but we're making progress." "You sound tired." "I'm fine." He wasn't. Lena could hear it in his voice, the weight, the exhaustion he wouldn't admit to. "When's the last time you slept?" she asked. "Last night." "For how long?" Silence. "Adrian, 3 hours, maybe 4. You can't keep doing this to yourself." "I'm fine," he said again, sharper this time. Lena backed off. "Okay, just take care of yourself, please." "I will. And Lena?" "Yeah?" "Be careful. Victor's locked up, but he still has people on the outside. Don't drop your guard." The call ended. Lena stared at her phone, fighting the urge to call him back. Winter settled over the city. Lena taught classes, worked on organizing her mother's catalog, and slowly learned what it felt like to breathe without constant fear. Noah thrived. His grades improved. He joined the school's coding club. He even made friends, real ones, not the kind who disappeared when life got hard. One evening in December, Lena was making dinner when someone knocked on the door. She checked the peephole. Adrian stood in the hallway, looking like he'd been awake for 3 days straight. Lena opened the door. "What happened?" "Can I come in?" She stepped aside. Adrian walked past her into the living room, then just stood there like he'd forgotten why he came. "Adrian," Lena said gently, "talk to me." "My case fell apart." Witness recanted. Evidence got suppressed. "The guy I've been chasing for 6 months just walked." Lena's chest tightened. "I'm sorry." "I had him. I was so close." Adrian's hands clenched into fists. "And now he's free. Free to hurt someone else. Free to—" He stopped. Took a breath. Lena moved closer. "It's not your fault." "Feels like it is." "I know, but it's not." She reached out, touched his arm. "You can't save everyone. No one can." "I should have done more. Found better evidence, been smarter." "Stop." Lena's voice was firm. "You did everything you could. Sometimes that's not enough, but that doesn't make it your fault." Adrian looked at her, something raw and broken in his expression. "How do you do it? Keep going after everything that happened?" "I don't know. I just do. One day at a time, and I have help." Lena squeezed his arm. "You don't have to carry everything alone." For a moment she thought he might actually break, might let the armor drop. Then Noah walked in from his room. "Oh, hey Adrian." The moment shattered. Adrian's walls went back up, smooth and seamless. "Hey Noah, how's school?" They made small talk. Adrian stayed for dinner, pizza, because Lena had given up trying to cook anything more complicated. He was polite, engaged, completely in control again. But when he left that night, Lena saw the exhaustion still there, the weight he carried. She wanted to help, didn't know how. Christmas came. Lena and Noah spent it at the apartment, just the two of them. It was quiet, simple, nothing like the holidays when their mother was alive. But it was theirs. Lena's phone rang while they were watching a movie. Unknown number again, but she recognized the area code. Prison. She stepped into the kitchen, heart pounding, and answered. "You have a collect call from Victor Hale, an inmate at—" Lena hung up immediately. He called again the next day, and the day after that. On the fourth call, Lena answered. "What do you want, Victor?" His laugh was bitter. "Just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. See how you're enjoying spending my money. It was never your money. We'll see what the jury says. The jury's going to convict you, you know that. Maybe, or maybe my lawyers will find something you missed, some little crack in your perfect case. And when they do, I'm walking out of here. And when I do, you'll what? Come after me? You already tried that. Didn't work out so well for you." Victor's voice dropped, vicious. "You think you won, but all you did was delay the inevitable. I've been playing this game for 20 years, little girl. You're just a speed bump. Then why are you calling me from prison?" Silence. Then the line went dead. Lena blocked the number. But the calls haunted her, not because she believed Victor could hurt her. He was locked up, monitored, powerless. But because some part of her knew he was right. Men like Victor didn't just disappear. Even behind bars, they had reach, influence. Lena told Adrian about the calls. He had Victor's phone privileges revoked within 24 hours. "He can't contact you anymore," Adrian said. "And if he tries, he'll lose what little freedom he has left." "Thanks. Lena, he's trying to get in your head. Don't let him." Easier said than done. January arrived with freezing rain in a city that felt gray and tired. Lena's trial prep intensified. The prosecutor walked her through testimony again and again until Lena could recite it in her sleep. "Victor's team is going to come at you hard," the prosecutor warned. "They'll try to make you look like an opportunist. A gold digger who fabricated this whole thing to steal money." "Let them try," Lena said. But the thought of facing Victor in a courtroom made her sick. The trial was still months away. Spring felt impossibly far. Lena kept teaching, kept living, kept trying to build something that felt like a future. And slowly, carefully, she started to believe she might actually have one. February brought the kind of cold that sank into your bones and stayed there. Lena walked to the community center through streets lined with dirty snow, her breath fogging in the air. Teaching had become her anchor, the one thing that felt normal in a life that had been anything but. She was halfway through her Tuesday morning class when her phone buzzed, then buzzed again, and again. Lena glanced at her students, 7 kids between ages 8 and 12, all focused on their piano exercises. She pulled out her phone. 17 missed calls, all from the same number. Adrian. Her stomach dropped. "Keep practicing," Lena said, already moving toward the door. "I'll be right back." She stepped into the hallway and called him back. He answered before the first ring finished. "Where are you?" Adrian's voice was tight. "Community center. What's wrong?" "Victor's lawyers just filed an emergency motion. They're claiming prosecutorial misconduct, saying the evidence was obtained illegally." Lena's hand tightened on the phone. "Can they do that?" "They can try. There's a hearing tomorrow morning. You need to be there." "Why? I'm not—" "They're calling you as a witness. They're going to argue that you colluded with me to fabricate evidence, that the whole thing was a setup." Lena leaned against the wall, the cold seeping through her coat. "That's insane. We have recordings, documents, Claire's testimony. I know. But Victor's legal team is good, expensive, and they're looking for any angle to get the charges dismissed." Adrian paused. "This is serious, Lena. If the judge believes them, if they can show reasonable doubt about how the evidence was collected, Victor could walk." The words hit like a physical blow. "When's the hearing?" 9 a.m., Federal Courthouse. I'm sending a car for you at 7. "Okay." Lena's voice sounded steadier than she felt. "Okay, I'll be ready." She went back into the classroom. The kids were still practicing, oblivious. Lena finished the lesson on autopilot, smiled at parents during pickup, locked up the center like this was just another Tuesday. Then she went home and threw up. Noah found her in the bathroom 20 minutes later. You okay? Fine, just stress. Lena rinsed her mouth, avoided looking at herself in the mirror. I have a court thing tomorrow. It's nothing, just procedural. Noah didn't look convinced. Is he getting out? No, absolutely not. Lena forced herself to sound certain. His lawyers are just trying to make trouble. It won't work. She hoped she wasn't lying. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation with Adrian, every piece of evidence they'd gathered. Had they done something wrong? Missed some legal technicality that would unravel everything? At 3 a.m., she gave up and made coffee. Sat at the kitchen table with her mother's recordings playing softly through her headphones. The music usually calmed her. Tonight, it just made her feel hollow. Her phone buzzed. A text from Adrian. Can't sleep either, Lena called him. How'd you know? Because I know you, and because I'm looking at security footage from your building. Your kitchen light's been on for an hour. That's creepy. That's my job. Adrian's voice was dry. You doing okay? No. I keep thinking about what happens if they win. If Victor gets out. He won't. You don't know that. I do. I've been doing this for 15 years, Lena. I know when a case is solid. This one is. Victor's lawyers are desperate. That's all this is. Lena wanted to believe him. What if I mess up tomorrow? Say the wrong thing. You won't. Just tell the truth. That's all you need to do. The truth is I wanted to destroy him. That I went into that gala hoping he'd incriminate himself. That sounds like a setup. It sounds like justice. There's a difference. Adrian was quiet for a moment. Lena, listen to me. You didn't create evidence. You didn't falsify anything. You exposed crimes that were already happening. That's not illegal. That's not misconduct. That's what victims are supposed to do, fight back. Lena closed her eyes. I'm scared. I know, but you're also strong. Stronger than you think. He paused. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. The line went dead. Lena didn't sleep, but she stopped spiraling. The car picked her up at 7 sharp. The driver was different this time, a woman with sharp eyes and a professional demeanor who introduced herself as Martinez. Mr. Cross asked me to brief you on security protocols, Martinez said as they pulled into traffic. The courthouse will have metal detectors and standard screening. You'll be escorted to a private waiting room. Don't speak to anyone you don't recognize. Don't answer questions from press. Will there be press? Lena hadn't considered that. Probably. Victor's case has been all over the news. His team might try to spin this hearing as exoneration. Martinez glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Don't let them rattle you. Eyes forward, no comment, keep walking. The courthouse was an imposing building, all stone and columns and the weight of law. News vans lined the street, cameras swiveled toward the car as it pulled up. Martinez got out first, scanned the crowd, then opened Lena's door. Stay close. They moved fast. Lena kept her head down, ignored the shouted questions, focused on putting one foot in front of the other. Inside, the chaos muted to echoes and fluorescent lights. Adrian was waiting in the lobby. He looked tired but controlled, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Lena's monthly rent. You ready? He asked. No, but I'm here. He almost smiled. That's all that matters. The waiting room was small and windowless, furnished with chairs that looked designed to be uncomfortable. Lena sat, stood, sat again, checked her phone even though there was no signal. At 8:45, a bailiff appeared. Miss Hart, they're ready for you. The courtroom was smaller than Lena expected. Wood paneling, high ceilings, a sense of institutional permanence. Victor sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, flanked by 3 lawyers in expensive suits. He looked thinner than Lena remembered, harder. When their eyes met, his mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Lena looked away first, hated herself for it. The judge was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd seen everything and been impressed by none of it. She surveyed the room, then nodded to Victor's lead attorney. Counselor, your motion claims prosecutorial misconduct. Please elaborate. The attorney stood, a man named Philip Crane, who looked like he practiced his expressions in a mirror. Your Honor, the evidence against my client was obtained through entrapment. Miss Hart, acting as an agent of Mr. Cross's investigation, deliberately provoked my client in a public setting with the express purpose of eliciting an incriminating response. This constitutes entrapment under federal law. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Janet Reeves, stood immediately. Your Honor, that's absurd. Miss Hart was a victim exercising her right to confront her abuser in a public space. The fact that Mr. Hale chose to threaten her and reveal his crimes is his responsibility, not hers. Miss Hart was wired, Crane shot back. She was working directly with a private investigator who had positioned federal agents throughout the venue. This was a coordinated operation designed to trap my client. Your client trapped himself by attempting to murder Miss Hart in front of 300 witnesses, Reeves interrupted. The wire simply preserved evidence of his confession. The judge held up a hand. I'll hear from Miss Hart directly. Please approach the stand. Lena's legs felt unstable as she walked to the witness box. The bailiff swore her in. The words felt distant, like they were happening to someone else. Crane approached first. His smile was practiced, sympathetic in a way that made Lena's skin crawl. Miss Hart, how long had you been working with Adrian Cross before the gala incident? About 6 weeks. And during those 6 weeks, did Mr. Cross suggest that you confront my client? Lena met his eyes. He suggested I could choose to face Victor instead of hiding. I made that choice myself. But Mr. Cross provided you with the wire, the security team, the entire infrastructure for what happened that night. He provided me with protection. Victor had already tried to kill me once. I wasn't going to face him without backup. Crane's smile thinned. According to your statement, you told my client, and I quote, I know you stole my mother's music. I know you locked Claire Donovan in a basement. I know you killed your first wife. Is that accurate? Yes. And you said these things knowing they would provoke a reaction. I said them because they were true. But you said them in a public venue, in front of cameras, while wearing a recording device. You were trying to get my client to incriminate himself. I was trying to make him answer for what he'd done. Crane leaned against the witness box. Miss Hart, isn't it true that you stood to gain financially from my client's arrest? That you're currently in control of a $12 million trust that was disputed before these charges were filed? Objection, Reeves said. Relevance. Goes to motive, Your Honor, Crane said smoothly. If Miss Hart fabricated these allegations to secure access to contested funds... I didn't fabricate anything, Lena said, her voice rising. Your client destroyed my life. He tried to force me into marriage. He had people break into my home and terrorize my 14-year-old brother. He locked a woman in a basement for 8 months. None of that is fabricated. None of that is made up. Order, the judge said mildly. Miss Hart, please wait for questions before responding. Lena forced herself to breathe, to stay calm. Crane circled back. You attended the gala uninvited, correct? The gala was advertised as a public charity event. Anyone could attend. But you went specifically to confront my client. I went because I deserved to look him in the eye and tell him I wasn't afraid anymore. And you wanted him arrested. I wanted him to face consequences for his crimes. Yes. Crane nodded like she'd confirmed something. So you admit that you went to that event with the express purpose of provoking my client into a response that could be used against him in court. I went to tell the truth. If that provoked him, that's his problem. Your Honor, Crane turned to the judge. This clearly demonstrates entrapment. Miss Hart deliberately created a situation designed to elicit criminal behavior. Criminal behavior that your client was already engaged in, Reeves cut in. Attempted murder isn't entrapment. It's a choice. A choice Mr. Hale made when he reached for a weapon. The judge looked at Lena. Miss Hart, did Mr. Cross or anyone working with him instruct you to provoke Mr. Hale? No, Your Honor. Did anyone suggest what you should say to him? They told me to stay in public spaces and keep talking so the wire could record clearly. That's all. And when Mr. Hale reached for the gun, were you surprised? Lena thought about that moment. The way Victor's hand had moved. The flash of metal. No, she said honestly. I wasn't surprised. He'd already tried to have me killed. I expected him to try again. The judge nodded slowly. Counselor Crane, I'm not seeing entrapment here. Your client had multiple opportunities to walk away. To ignore Miss Hart. To not bring a concealed weapon to a public event. The fact that he chose to escalate isn't Miss Hart's fault. Crane's jaw tightened. Your Honor, We'd like to call Mr. Cross to testify about the coordination of... Denied. I've heard enough. The judge shuffled papers. The motion for dismissal based on prosecutorial misconduct is denied. The evidence stands. Trial date remains unchanged. She banged the gavel. It was over. Lena sat in the witness box, not quite processing what had just happened. The bailiff had to prompt her twice to step down. Victor was shouting something, his lawyers trying to quiet him, guards moving in. Lena didn't look, just walked out of the courtroom with her head up and her hands shaking. Adrian was waiting in the hallway. You did good. I almost lost it up there. But you didn't. You stayed calm, told the truth. That's all you needed to do. Lena leaned against the wall, legs weak with relief. Is it really over, the motion? It's denied. Victor's team will probably try other angles, but this was their best shot. They failed. Adrian's expression softened slightly. You're safe, Lena. The case is moving forward. The words should have brought relief. Instead, Lena just felt exhausted. They left through a side exit to avoid the press. Martinez drove them back in silence. When they reached Lena's building, Adrian walked her up. Take the rest of the day off, he said at her door. Rest. You've earned it. What about you? I have other cases. Work doesn't stop. Of course it didn't. Lena studied him, the controlled posture, the careful distance. Do you ever take a break? Ever? Sometimes. When? Adrian almost smiled. I'll let you know when it happens. He left before Lena could respond. Inside, the apartment was quiet. Noah was at school. Lena collapsed on the couch and slept for 4 hours straight. She woke to her phone ringing. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Miss Hart? This is Claire Donovan. Lena sat up fast. Claire, hi. Is everything okay? Yeah, I saw the news about the hearing. I wanted to thank you for fighting, for not letting them twist what happened. You don't need to thank me. I do. Because of you, I'm getting justice. Because of you, he can't hurt anyone else. Claire's voice wavered. I thought I'd never get out of that place. Thought no one cared enough to look, but you cared. You and Adrian. You didn't give up. Lena's throat tightened. I'm just glad you're safe now. Me too. A pause. There's something else. The prosecutor asked if I'd testify at the trial, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to look Victor in the eye and tell everyone what he did. Are you sure? That's going to be hard. I know, but I need to, for me, and for everyone else he hurt. Claire took a breath. Will you be there? At the trial? Yeah, I'll be there. Good. I think it'll be easier knowing you're in the room. They talked for a few more minutes before saying goodbye. Lena sat with the phone in her hand, feeling something shift inside her. This wasn't just about her anymore. It wasn't even just about her mother's stolen legacy. It was about Claire, about Melissa Reeves, about every woman Victor had targeted and broken. It was about making sure he never did it again. March arrived with rain and the first hints of spring. The trial date loomed, April 15th, 6 weeks away. Lena threw herself into preparation, met with the prosecutor almost daily, reviewed testimony until she could recite it backwards, practiced staying calm under pressure. She also started something new. One afternoon, Lena walked into a storefront that had been vacant for months. The space was small but had good bones. High ceilings, lots of natural light, hardwood floors that needed refinishing. The realtor looked skeptical. It's been on the market for a while. Previous tenant was a vintage clothing shop that went under. What are you planning to use it for? A music school, Lena said, for kids who can't afford traditional lessons. The realtor's expression changed. That's wonderful. We could definitely work out a lease that I'm not leasing, I'm buying. Turns out $12 million was more than enough to buy a small storefront and renovate it into something beautiful. Lena told Noah about it over dinner that night. You're starting a school? He looked impressed. Like a real one? A real one. Free lessons for any kid who wants to learn. Instruments provided. No auditions, no prerequisites, just music. That's actually really cool. Noah grinned. Mom would have loved it. Yeah, she would have. Lena told Adrian about it during one of their weekly check-ins. They'd fallen into a pattern. Phone calls every few days, occasional coffee meetings to discuss trial prep. It was professional, distant, safe. But sometimes Lena caught something else underneath. A warmth that wasn't quite friendship, but felt close to it. "A music school," Adrian said when she explained. "That's ambitious." "Maybe, but I need to do something good with this money, something that matters." "It does matter. Your mother's legacy helping other kids learn music, that's exactly what she would have wanted." Lena smiled. "That's what Noah said." "Smart kid." "He is." Lena paused. "Will you come to the opening when it's ready?" A beat of silence, then, "Yeah, I'd like that." The renovation took longer than expected. Contractors found water damage, outdated wiring, a foundation issue that required permits and inspections. Lena spent hours in the space, watching it transform from abandoned storefront to something alive. She hired 2 teachers, both talented musicians who'd been priced out of the competitive music scene. She ordered instruments, sheet music, chairs that were actually comfortable. She named it Heart Music Academy. Simple, direct, a tribute to her mother without being maudlin about it. The grand opening was scheduled for May 1st, 2 weeks after the trial was supposed to conclude. If the trial concluded, if Victor was convicted, if everything went according to plan. Lena tried not to think about the alternatives. April arrived faster than she expected. Suddenly, the trial was a week away, then 3 days, then tomorrow. The night before opening arguments, Lena couldn't eat. She sat at her kitchen table pushing food around her plate while Noah watched her with concern. "You're going to be fine," he said. "You don't know that." "Yeah, I do. Because you're the person who took down a crime boss at a fancy party. You're basically a superhero." Lena laughed despite herself. "I'm really not. You are to me." Noah's expression turned serious. "Whatever happens tomorrow, you already won. You got us out. You kept us safe. You built something good. Victor's already lost, even if the jury's too stupid to see it." Lena reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just never noticed." That night, Lena stood on her apartment balcony looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Victor was sitting in a cell, preparing for trial. Probably still convinced he could win. Maybe he could. Juries were unpredictable. Lawyers found loopholes. Justice wasn't guaranteed. But Lena had done everything she could. Told the truth. Gathered evidence. Stood up when it would have been easier to stay down. Whatever happened tomorrow, she could live with that. Her phone buzzed. A text from Adrian. "You ready?" Lena typed back. "As ready as I'll ever be. You'll do great. I'll be there the whole time." The words settled something in Lena's chest. She wasn't alone in this. She had Adrian, Noah, Claire, the prosecutor. She had people who believed her. That had to be enough. The trial started on a Tuesday morning under gray skies that threatened rain. Lena wore a simple navy dress and her mother's treble clef necklace. She sat in the gallery with Adrian on one side and Claire on the other. Victor was brought in wearing a suit his lawyers must have provided, an attempt to make him look respectable. It didn't work. He still looked like exactly what he was. The jury was seated, 12 people who held Victor's fate in their hands. Lena studied their faces, trying to read something, sympathy, skepticism, anything. They looked tired, impatient, ready for this to be over. She knew the feeling. The prosecutor's opening statement was devastating, clear, methodical, backed by evidence that couldn't be disputed. She walked the jury through Victor's crimes, the financial fraud, the manipulation, the attempted murder. She showed them documents, recordings, testimony from experts. Then she showed them Claire. Claire took the stand on day 2. She was thinner than she'd been in the hospital, but stronger. Her voice didn't shake as she described the 8 months she'd spent locked in a basement. The fear, the hunger, the desperate hope that someone would find her. "Did you ever see Victor Hale during your captivity?" the prosecutor asked. "Once," Claire said, "about 3 months in. He came down to tell me that no one was looking for me anymore, that my family had given up, that I was going to die there and no one would ever know." "How did that make you feel?" "Like I didn't exist anymore. Like I was already dead." The jury looked shaken. One woman wiped her eyes. Victor's lawyers tried to discredit Claire during cross-examination, suggested she was confused about who had taken her, that her memory was unreliable after months of trauma. Claire didn't budge. I know what I saw, she said firmly. I know who put me there, and I know who